Welcome to the talk, everybody. It is Wednesday afternoon here in overcast Southern California. I am your host and president of the show. My name is Emiko, but y'all knew that already. I get the great privilege and honor of interviewing somebody today that I'm so excited about. I'm not even going to hide the fangirling here over the speakers and the design and the philosophy and the background of Jeremy Porter and J. Porter Studios. Before I introduce him formally, a couple house rules for you all. The show, T.H.E, coming up June 7 through 9 at the Hilton Orange County, Costa Mesa, but y'all knew that. This is an interactive live stream, so if you have questions or comments, please type them in the chat, and I will read them out for Jeremy to answer. Obviously, keep it classy. This is a family show, so we like to stay away from politics, religion, anything divisive. We're all here for audio. We love hi-fi. We love music. And there are no stupid questions. Audiophiles, music lovers, people of all stages in the journey are welcome. So if you are new to the stream and you might feel afraid to ask a question, don't. It's okay, because we're all here to learn and encourage and inform each other and share our journey. So with that said, oh, and of course, tickets are available at theshownow.com. So go get that. Don't do it now. Don't leave the stream. Stay on the stream. Listen to what Jeremy has to say after the stream. Go to theshownow.com, get your tickets. Use code ambassador5 to save $5 off. But for now, I want to introduce you to Jeremy Porter of J. Porter Studios, who we found somewhat haphazardly on the internet. And I think, as you can see by the loudspeaker sitting next to him, you can see why immediately I went, oh my gosh, I need this in my life, because it is a non-traditional loudspeaker. And then when I delved into how he got started and where he is and some of his philosophies, it was very, I think in some ways, very similarly minded to my personal philosophies in audio, right? Which is to sort of bridge that gap between pro audio music creation and hi-fi music listening. And I know Jeremy has a lot to say about that. So without further ado, Jeremy Porter, welcome to the talk. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to kind of do speakers, some new speaker designs that we have, and kind of talk about why we built these, how we build them, why we build them the way we do, the materials we use, all those sort of things that make them different and kind of special to us anyway.
They are different. First of all, let's tell everybody the speaker that you have sitting next to you is part of your Waterloo line, right?
Yeah, so this is called the Waterloo Signature. We kind of have two basic products, the and then the Wellington is going to be our new kind of flagship speaker that we're going to debut at the show. Nobody's ever heard this. I haven't even heard it yet. It's going to be ready in about a week, and then we're going to have it at the show to show off. But I think it's definitely going to be an improvement, and we'll see what everybody thinks.
Nice. Well, I'm sure people are gonna love it, because I know just from following you on social media, J. Porter Studios, everybody go type it in, follow along. One of the things that really got me right away, which made me call our VP of sales and exhibitor experience, was the fact that you do talk on your homepage about these speakers being able-bodied, not just for hi-fi and listening in the home setting, but also for recording and mastering and live sound and pro playback. And so that's something, I hear those words and you're speaking my language. So can you tell everybody why that is the case and why you chose to make a speaker that works in both worlds?
Sure. Yeah. So I was involved, in music and music production, and I've always been an audiophile my whole life. So I always, kind of combine those two things. I had audiophile systems and I'd had my monitors, they're always kind of separate. Right. And, I wanted to see if I could kind of improve on both of those things, combine those things, make them more useful inside the home and then outside the home. If you're going out for a gig, if you're traveling, if you're moving speakers around. So, we put these on casters, they can roll around. They're easy to move in and out of venues or in and out of rooms. And then the connection setup, everything's all built in one in these systems. So they have built-in amplifiers, DAC, DSP, electric crossovers, all that stuff's already in the cabinet. It's easy XLR hookup or RCA Toslink or any of those kind of connections that you might run into in the field versus moving between your home theater, your
Mhm.
recording studio, wherever you might be using your speakers, just to make it more versatile.
So, one of the things that I thought I was gonna joke with you about before we went live was, right, your computer was sort of faced in this way, and I said, "Just move your speaker," because I assumed the speaker was gonna be 5,000 pounds, and you went, "Okay." And it was a very Star Wars sort of use the Force moment. It just glided over. I went, "What just happened?" Um, the fact of the matter is that the way that you design them, it's not like a huge backbreaking thing for somebody because you do put them on casters, right? And you and 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 that gives you almost like a modularity of use. Um, do people ever request them without the casters? I mean, they can take them off, right?
Sure, yeah, they're removable. So some clients keep them, some clients, put them on plinths or different isolation systems, risers, whatever your room
Mhm.
might require. So, and we help with installation. So we're there to do all of that work for the clients and make sure everything's the way they want it to be. So yeah, some keep them if you're, and then you can also put them on later too. So they just screw into the bottom where you might have
Oh,
a
that's cool.
traditional isolation foot. You can swap back and forth between the two.
So you came up in the music creation side of things, production, pro audio, right?
A little bit, yeah. I was in bands and did a lot of work in the production studio. That's part of what my background is, and then it's also electrical engineering.
Mhm.
So I studied electrical engineering, and I really focused on acoustics and speaker design. I worked in the anechoic chamber at UT Austin here, and it was always kind of my passion and what I wanted to do. I had a deep interest in technology and electronics, and then as an applied part of that, and mainly speaker design. So
You are not an old person. There's a
not
question coming. Don't worry, I'm not just randomly making an inappropriate observation. You are not an old person. It is refreshing to see a new face, new faces in loudspeaker design, and especially someone who has a background in music. Um, what do you feel are some things that you can, I mean, I know what they are, but I want you to tell everybody, like, what are some things that you bring to the table with J. Porter Studios that's different from other loudspeakers? So we're not talking about this versus that, but it's more like, oh, they're all good, but with J. Porter, you get this and the following things, and the philosophy behind it is different, and here's why.
right. So yeah, what I really wanted to focus on improving in loudspeaker design and what we were trying to do is improving diffraction and distortion. So the cabinet design has a lot to do with that. So I get a lot of questions every time anybody sees that. It's like, oh, is that just to kind of look funny, or is there a reason why it looks like that? And
Right.
yeah, there's a reason why it looks like that. So every panel is a different size and a different shape, so they all resonate at different frequencies. So we can eliminate standing waves. We use an 1.5 inch thick front and rear baffles. The entire construction's Baltic birch plywood, so all throughout it's Baltic birch. We don't use any MDFs. That's part of our design philosophy. Is we say live organic sounds, and a lot of people kind of are like, "What is that supposed to mean?"
Right.
with regard to speakers. But as far as the organic aspect, is we use a lot of organic materials, like for all of our acoustic absorption materials. We use kind of a proprietary mix of wool, organic carbon, coconut carbon, so that's charcoal, which has an extremely high sound absorption coefficient. And we've done a lot of different tests and different ways of measuring how we wanted to load these lines. So
Mhm.
another aspect of the design is transmission lines. So I started building closed box speakers and ported speakers, did some horn speakers, and I really thought transmission lines, were the most natural sounding. So that's what I really like to focus on, and then just having a maximum length of that transmission line that we can fit in kind of a normal size cabinet. So this one has I believe it's a 61-inch Baltic birch line internally, and that exits into an aluminum port. So we don't use any plastics in our products either. So that's part of that kind of philosophy. We use aluminum and wood, metals. We don't use any polyfill or MDFs, things like that. So that's part of it. Things that I don't want in my home. I don't want formaldehyde and plastics
Right.
and this sort of thing. So that's what I wanted in the speaker and what I want to kind of provide in the marketplace. And then, the kind of advanced design here that we're doing with all of the faceting, which improves the diffraction. So we're kind of trying to take the idea, there's a lot of asymmetry that you see in tweeter placement.
Right.
So you might see the tweeter placed off in the center of a large baffle, but on that large baffle, you're still going to get all those reflections coming off between that tweeter and the end of the baffle. No, they're not going to be the same size, and that's good. We want that asymmetry, but take that up another step, and then we have this whole panel that diffracts off in a completely different direction. So that's the idea there, and we kind of have the similar panel down here that is of a larger size and fract more of that sound.
I wish
Is
that
that kind
people
of
could see the full length of it because
yeah,
it's a
yeah, I
fluorescent
can kind of
speaker. But oh, there we
yeah,
go.
I
Okay.
can kind of see it, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that's the Waterloo again, and then the Wellington. We take this up a notch even a little more as far as the diffraction that we're doing. So we have even more of a faceted face. Um, the the driver designs for this model, we use a composite aluminum and ceramic for the tweeter and the midwoofer, and the subwoofer is a standard aluminum unit. Um, but for the Wellington, we take these up to a high efficiency composite paper and a beryllium tweeter. So this one is about 90 dB, but it has that built-in amplifier,
Mhm.
built-in DSP, DAC, all of that stuff's already there. So we're not too concerned about the sensitivity. These ones have over 1,000 watts of HiPEX N4 amplification built into them. The Wellingtons are going to be fully passive, so we have three-way passive crossover in there, and those ones are 98 dB.
Wow. Are they we've got a question here. You've got some big fans watching. Um are they made as a mirrored pair? Is one of the questions that we
Yes,
have.
yeah. So yeah, I get that question a lot too, and yeah, they're mirrored. So there's a left and a right.
Right.
I typically arrange, so this would be the right in the way I typically arrange them. If you have a display, if you're using a home theater or a TV or something, you can have your display here, and then you have your diffraction off to the side past your screen. You could invert those. That's up to you, but I think you get a better diffraction pattern kind of with this
Mhm.
arrangement.
Right. How much do they weigh? I'm just curious.
They're about 90 pounds each, so they are. So I was carrying over the place to different shows, and then that's when we started putting them on
Mm.
casters, and then kind of we got the requests from different people that were moving them around about how they liked them, so we kept
Right.
them.
They are pretty cool. I gotta say they
Thank
are.
you.
That yes, I could see why somebody would want to push them out for their friends to see them and experience them, and not just leave them alone in a room where you listen in a solitary fashion. These. I feel like these
Yeah.
are social speakers in that sense, right?
I hope so. Yeah, that's better for everybody. The more we can all get together as a group and kind of listen to stuff.
I think so. I think so. Um, so you're gonna be premiering the Wellingtons, which
Wellington, yeah, that's right.
right. And so for those of you that before we went live, we were talking about I said to Jeremy, are you like a history buff? Because obviously you've got the Duke of Wellington who fought in the Battle of Waterloo, and there's that whole thing. And then Jeremy enlightened me to something I did not know, which was that I guess Austin, Texas was originally called Waterloo.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, it was originally named Waterloo before the name got changed to Austin. So that's kind of where the name started with. And then also I wanted kind of a speaker that was kind of an in-game for me, like what I thought I'm good with the specifications, the output, the looks. Like this is kind of my Waterloo as far as what I would want in a speaker.
Right.
But I got enough requests from tube addicts and people that wanted something. They wanted to use their own amplifiers. They wanted to try different things. They wanted high efficiency. those single-ended triode tubes to try out different 2-3 watt amplifiers and see the experience
Right.
versus solid state and different things. So we went with the Wellington, and then I found a few things that I thought I could improve, beyond where we were at with the Waterloo with the diffraction. So increasing that and just tweaking some other things to kind of get just to take it up a notch a little.
You've got family, you've got little ones.
Yeah,
How do they react when dad says, I'm sure, right? You sit down and say, "Hey, let's listen to some music or let's watch a program." And what do y'all think of my creations? What are their reactions to this?
oh, they love them. Yeah. So, I have a couple pairs. So my daughter, this is her favorite pair. And then my son, we have like a midnight blue version of this, and that one
Mhm.
is his favorite. That is more geared for the home theater, with the midnight blue, really dark blue finish. So, but yeah, they love to listen to them. They're actually the ones that change the records now. So we finally gotten to that stage where they can go and put the record on,
Oh,
and
that's good.
they can manage. So I
Right.
still have an automatic table, so they just press the button, but at least they're able to do all that. So that's great.
Nice. I love that you have a his and hers pair for your kids. That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
very
yeah.
they're very spoiled and in the best way possible. If dad's making signature hi-fi pieces for them
Hmm.
already, they are set for life, I think, at that point. Um, we got a shout out to Joshua Miles from JWM Acoustics. Hi,
Hey,
Joshua.
Josh, good to see you. Yeah, Josh is
We
an
we were
old
just
friend. So
yeah, we were just talking about him this morning, as a matter of fact, weren't we? Um,
yeah.
yeah, and as a matter of fact, I see him on your feed a lot because I guess you guys do some work together. Is that right?
We
Sort of.
do, yeah, yeah. I've worked with Josh a long time, so he helps out, and he's did the finish on these, and he does a great job, on the finishing and helping with assembly, and we look forward to working with him for a long time.
If he has purple, let me know,
I'm
right?
sure he can do it, so I'll ask Josh
I
about it. If like the specific shade, and Josh can make some samples, and
okay.
we'll get you what
I
you want.
I will message him tomorrow. I will. And
Cool.
he'll be very sad that he'll be like, "Oh, I got to do purple now. What?" Um, okay, let's see another question. What class and wattage are the internal amplifiers? That's a good question.
So SD HiPEC, so they call them in core. So the current version of these are the standard in core, and they're going to be upgraded to the in core X at some point. So very ultra low distortion. There's 500 watts to the subwoofer, 500 watts to the midwoofer, and 100 watts to the tweeter. And we don't actually utilize that wattage, in the tweeter and the midwoofer necessarily, but we are getting a benefit in the distortion profile from using these higher end amplifiers, and keeping the package in an easy to replace unit. So if there ever is an issue, I've had these for a very long time now and been testing them, moving them all over the place, and they've been great. So but we do offer a warranty service for that stuff too if there's any problems.
Nice, nice. Um, I want to switch gears and talk about philosophy for a minute because one of the things that we've been doing over the last few years with the show is bringing in younger people, bringing in women, bringing in people who are in pro audio, people that are into interior design, people that are just curious more than audiophiles. And the question I think that I personally have been asked the most is, why does one get into loudspeaker design? So I would pose that to you. Why did you get into loudspeaker design?
It was just an obsession, really, since I was trawling. Basically, my dad, had a big hi-fi system, and he put on the Beach Boys on the weekends, and I would just crawl over and just, touch the woofers, and I was just amazed at
He let
the
you
capability.
touch the woofers?
Oh no, he didn't let me, but I did
Okay.
it anyway.
You just did it anyway. I see. I see. Okay,
I
got it.
didn't break, well, actually break them, but I didn't break them when I was younger. So
Got it. Fair
but
enough. Okay.
down the line, he let me disassemble them and do different things with them. But anyway, so yeah, I was just kind of always obsessed with that, the possibility of a moving object creating sound. Always loved music, and the the technology behind it was just super interesting to me. It's kind of the most interesting problem that I could think about working on. So that's why I kind of decided to go in that direction. I read it from a young age that Paul Klipsch studied electrical engineering. He kind of went down this educational path, so I went down that same path
Mhm.
in hopes to kind of learn the same things he learned and maybe learn from what all of his his books and his documents that he's published over the years. So that's kind of where my philosophy came from and grew from, is more from Klipsch's ideas about how do we improve distortion when we horn load things. We do these different things in a special way, and so taking all of that and then seeing if I could improve on them.
Nice. Do you think that your kiddos might have an interest in audio beyond listening to music? Or is it
So yeah, they both play a little bit. They're definitely into listening to music and kind of the speaker aspect. So they helped put the stuffing in these, and they help do different things. They love to be involved and pick out the colors and do
nice?
everything like that. And the company is J Porter Studios because I'm Jeremy and my son's Jack. So if he wants to someday, maybe he'll take
Oh,
over. We'll see.
that's good. That's awesome. We figured it was Jay Porter because you're Jeremy, but that's wonderful that
Yeah,
you sort of pre-populated your son into that in the
if
off
he
chance.
wants to.
No, I mean that right, because then you don't have to change it. That's very cool. That's very cool. Um, you've been in Austin for a while.
Yeah, I originally moved here to go to UT, and then that was over 20 years ago now. I did kind of travel around. I was kind of a traveling engineer for a bit, and then came back, and I've been settled here, and then yeah, really happy here.
Do you feel like, I mean, Austin is very famous for being a big music town. It's one of the only towns, at least that I know of as a touring artist, that you can actually make a living. I say living, that's relative, right? But you can make a living playing music in Austin, and a fairly respectable one at that, I would say, comparatively speaking to like New York or LA. Uh,
Yeah,
do you feel like having that music all around all the time, has that influenced your speaker design at all, or infused
definitely. Yeah, that was a big part of it. So when I was in college, I was studying engineering, but I was also Austin's the live music capital of the world. If everyone's not hasn't heard that term before, I'm not sure where that came from, but there used to be live music every night of the week, and I lived pretty close to kind of the downtown area of Austin, so it was easy to bike and go to different music shows all the time and kind of hear a bunch of different sound systems and kind of notice, oh yeah, I like that club the best, because of the sound primarily, and then you kind of think it's the artist, and then when you go to the same venues over and over again, you're like, okay, and you start noticing the systems and kind of taking that in as far as the way they do their setup, what
Mhm.
those systems, what components are in those systems, and
Right.
it was definitely involved in the design.
What can people expect in your room? You'll be in room 319. Thank you for
Yep.
telling me that, because I can't keep the room straight anymore. We're getting too close to the show.
Sure.
So room 319, you'll be doing demos, explanations, taking people on a journey. When somebody goes
Yep.
into a J Porter demo, what can they look forward to?
So we're gonna have our two different models. So we'll be kind of doing those separately. We'll have the Waterloo and the Wellington. I'm gonna try and get kind of a schedule for people if they want to know, like I want to see this one or this one, so they can listen to those. We're also exhibiting with linear tube audio,
We
so
love
they'll
them.
be
They're great.
sending.
They're great people.
Yes, they are great. So they're going to be sending us some of their gear too. So we'll be demoing that along with our systems. So you can expect to hopefully hear some new sounds, hear them in a different way. If you have tracks you want to listen to ahead of time, you can just let me know at the time, or if you could email me ahead of time, that would be great, and I could get them on the playlist, make sure they're working. If anyone plans to stop by, my email is jporter@jporterstudios. So you can send me an email and with your song request, and I can make sure we have a high resolution copy of that ready to go. And yeah, so taking custom requests, we'll also have kind of the standard audiophile fare that everybody likes to hear, and the tracks that they really know well, that they can kind of compare to systems that they've heard before. We'll be doing a lot of that
Mhm.
too. Hopefully, having a lot of fun.
Nice. I just typed in your email address for everybody in the chat so that people can get it. Did it go? There it is. It just went through. Okay, good. Oh, another good questions today. Sometimes we have horrible questions and sometimes we have really good questions. And this is great. People asking good questions.
Good.
2 models now. What does the future look like? Bookshelf size on the horizon, or too early to ask this? Question mark.
Yeah, we do have bookshelves. They are semi-launched. So we had a smaller version of the Waterloo and a smaller version of the Wellington. So they'll both be bookshelf sized, and they will
Is it
be
called the
available for order.
Napoleon?
What's that?
Is it called the Napoleon based on its size?
That's a good one. I did consider it, so it's still on the table. If anyone has suggestions for the name of the bookshelf, put them in the comments. I'll think about it because I haven't officially named it. I was considering just calling it, the same names, just bookshelf, but
Hmm.
they have their own names. So
I'm trying to think if there's any short in stature British army officers that fought that would, right? Napoleon is
there
the
are,
obvious one, but he was on the other side. And I
yeah,
don't think Robespierre was that short. So I'm trying to think who
yeah,
else there could
yeah.
be.
Well, if anyone has suggestions, I'm open to them.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if anything creative comes up in the in the chat.
Great.
Um, so you did South by Southwest this year, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah. So
then
we were there.
last year you did I guess it was last year. The days are all running together. You did the Lone Star Audio Fest, is that correct?
Yep. So we did Lone Star last year, and then yeah, South by this year. So that was
Nice.
great fun. So thought I'd enjoy these audiophile meetup festival things, and yeah, it was great. So we'll keep on going.
Nice. Yes, our dear friend Wayne Parham runs the Lone Star Audio Fest, and shout out
Yeah,
to him. Was talking to him this morning, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, Jay Porter Studios, they came and da da da." So that was. It's like I recognize their logo. Good. Um,
good deal.
yeah, it's a small world, and it's nice to see people getting audio out there to new people. And I guess one of my questions to you is like, have you? How would you tell people to get into audio? Like to make it, what I tell my son who's 13 is make good choices, right? Make good choices when it comes to audio. So
Yeah.
if somebody, oh, Joshua, wait, sidebar. Joshua is now totally joshing you. He says, if he uses our name suggestion, do we get a free set of speakers? I'm going to ask
Maybe.
for
Yeah.
the whole world to hear. I think that silence, Joshua, means no.
Possible. You have to talk me into it though. So come say hi at the show and talk me into it.
It has to be a really, really good name, right?
Yeah.
Really, really compelling
You
name.
have to
Yeah.
really love it.
Yes. Yes. Okay. He says, come on. I have a feeling that conversation is going to go on after the live stream has concluded for a while.
Possible I'll be getting texts soon.
Probably. So back to the question that I was trying to ask, which was, what are your sort of, I don't want to say go-to sounds cheesy, but like, what are your ways to encourage people to get into audio, to get into hi-fi?
So, I mean, just from like a product standpoint, typically used systems, you can find great used systems inexpensively and kind of check those out, or go find a friend who has a hi-fi and listen to different ones first, see what you like, because everything does sound different, and it kind of doesn't seem like it will, but it typically does. So, go listen to some Klipsch systems, listen to some Martin Logans, listen,
Yep.
that's, I've had all these different systems that I've enjoyed and liked over the years, and listen to all of them and see what you think about it. How does it make you feel? What connects you to the music
Well, I
the
think
deepest?
that's the real question, I think, that I want to get to the crux of, because you're a designer, but you're also on the music sort of performance and creation side. It's like, what, because there are people that say, oh no, I'm fine with my sound bar, I'm fine with my AirPods or my
Yeah.
skull candy or whatever, right? Like no shade, no shame, but to encourage them to make a different choice that day because it'll change their life, change their experience, change their emotion, whatever it is. But what have you found conversationally is the thing that gets people to go, all right, I'll try this out?
Well, typically I kind of introduce people to this and kind of a vinyl listening session. So we kind of host these here in Austin. So once a month we have a vinyl listening session. So I invite someone to there, and they've kind of had the typical experience of AirPods, sound bars, maybe a bookshelf system or something, but it might have been a long time ago.
Right.
And we invite them to the listening session, and we demo these in kind of an acoustically treated room, an ideal kind of environment to experience uh, a new vinyl album. And we play an album, an LP, front to back, and sit in silence with a lot of strangers sometimes, but it's a interesting experience, and everybody feels the music and connects to it in different ways. So that's how I recommend it, and how I've met a whole lot of new people.
That's really cool. I love that you host vinyl sessions because I mean, it's no
Yeah,
secret. I'm
I
a
love
I'm a
your
vinyl
turntable back there.
I'm a vinyl junkie, so that's a whole thing. All right, Joshua, I'll read out this comment. He says, "I heard the because this is very genuine. I heard the Waterloo in my reference room, and it was crazy good. Go hear them. No brainer design.
Thanks, Josh. Appreciate
Like,
it.
and I will, and full disclosure, I will say to all who are watching, I have never heard the speakers, but I saw them and was taken with the design. And then when I saw that you were somehow, I didn't know at the time how, but I knew that you were working with Joshua on stuff. I called Daryl, our VP of sales, and I said, "You get this guy to Costa Mesa. I don't care what it takes." And he goes, "Well, have you heard him?" And I went, "No." And he said, "Well, what if they're bad?" I said, "They're not bad because Joshua Miles is involved, and he doesn't get involved in bad stuff. And I don't care. I already know what they sound like if he is sort of advocating this." And then I guess the email was sent and the phone call was made. So this proves social media works. It's valuable
Go. Yeah.
because now you're packing those babies up and you're coming out here and everybody gets to hear them. Um,
Yes, I will.
oh, okay. Mike Leach I think he has a name choice
Okay.
for the small ones. I love this, Mike. This is great. He wrote the Wilkenfeld after Tal Wilkenfeld, who was Jeff Beck's bassist. The young lady who's like 3.5 feet tall. She's not really 3.5 feet tall, but she is very short. It's true, but she's a beast, man. She's a
Mm.
beast on bass.
I do like that. I like that a lot. It starts with the W, kind of goes in with the rest of the line. So I'm
It
gonna
does.
definitely consider that.
It does. And if it has all the angles, her hair is sort of curly and goes all over the place. So it's
Mm,
very kind of a similar thing. It's kind
cool.
of neat. Mike might
I like
be
it.
getting a complimentary pair. No, I don't know. I'm not promise. It's not my
I'll
place
get
to
your
promise.
contact info. See
He'll
what I
probably
can do.
come and see you though. I would bet you that he'll be like, "Hi, did you use the name I suggested?" Uh, um, so you'll be with us June 7, 8, and 9. And the other
Yeah,
really cool thing is Jeremy was really cool in that he signed can we talk about the other thing that you signed?
sure.
I mean, so you can get right now, the speakers are made to order, correct?
Yeah.
And they're made to order, and you can get them at jporterstudios.com.
Hmm.
And you can contact Jeremy directly, jporter@jporterstudios.com, which is in the chat. I don't know where y'all are seeing that, but for me, it's over there. But as many of you know, the show has the store online on our website, and we've been featuring music from our artists that are signed to the music group, which is our record label. We have art pieces up there from visual artists that we're working with and sculptures and things like that. And we recently made the decision to go into carrying various lines, mostly of independent designers, whether they're loudspeakers or amplifiers or cables or whatever, whatever it may be. And so we are very proud to announce that we will be carrying J. Porter Studios on the store as soon as we get everything live on the store and input all the data, which takes a hot minute. And to be clear, we're not working with any brands that have dealer relationships, because we value the fact that dealers are a very specific relationship. But in the case of J. Porter Studios, there are other loudspeaker designers that y'all know who are up and coming, and other cable manufacturers and things that make stuff. We want to be the place that can help bring the people in, bring the sales in, so that when they do get big enough to have the dealer relationships and the major distribution, they will have already had a proving ground, and we want to help to amplify their success in the industry. And so we're really excited to be featuring J. Porter Studios on the store. It'll probably be up in the next 2 weeks. It'll definitely be up before the show. That I know for a fact, because I have all your pictures and all your data and everything like that. So if you go buy a pair now, don't get them from the store. Get them from J. Porter Studios directly, and then come see him in room 319 at the show.
Yeah, come say hi. Looking forward to it.
Definitely, yes. Go, and I will. Last year, I only got to 3 rooms, which was insane, because I make a point of going to every room, but last year was a ridiculous show. This year, I have to go around to every room and hear everything. And I have a sneaking suspicion that I will be in front of your speakers for a large amount of time, just going, I knew it. I knew these. When you see something and you think, oh, it's gonna taste like that, or it's gonna sound like that, or it's gonna feel like that, or it's gonna look like that, right? I already have a vision in my head of what they're gonna sound like. So now I have to find out if that's true or not, which I think it will be, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Final question. What's your favorite music to play on your speakers?
It's a good question. So I listen to kind of all kinds of different stuff, but my favorite is probably a little bit of kind of indie electronica, circa 2000s. That was kind of what I was really into then. And these, the transmission line really extends the bass floor, so you get that electronic bass out of these. That's kind of my favorite. But jazz, piano, vocals, I really love all of it. But getting that electronic bass drum is kind of enjoyable to me and nostalgic too. So.
Are you familiar with a band, since you said indie electronica circa the early 2000s? Are you familiar with I think it's a band. I don't know. I think they're called Gates. They might be called Speak. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Doesn't ring a bell, but okay. I might recognize a track or two. Yeah.
I was going to say, I'm now going to send you requests on jporter at jporterstudios.com.
Yeah.
Because they're also, I think they were formed in Austin. I think I got to go back and look, but I know they lived in Austin for a while.
Nice.
So I thought
there was a lot of that going on. There's a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we're so looking forward to seeing and hearing you, the Wellingtons, the Waterloos, and getting to connect with you. And I am so excited. I want to thank you, Jeremy, not just for appearing on the talk, but for being part of the show, because I just know our attendees are going to lose their minds over your speakers. They're not going to know what to do with themselves. And I'm so excited for that, because it's not just about shock value. It's about waking people up and bringing them into a new choice, right? A new sound, a new choice, and letting people know that when they support you, they're supporting small business. You're here in the US, you're making the speakers, and you're making them for good reason. It's not just mass produced. There's nothing wrong with that, but this is artisan work. And it's something to be so proud of and so excited for. And I'm just thrilled. I really, really am so excited that you're going to be at the show. And we're really looking forward to seeing you there and to hearing your room.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it too. I can't wait.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be a lot of hard work, but it's gonna be a
Yeah.
lot of fun. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Please go check out jporterstudios.com. J Porter Studios on Instagram. Go now, find him, follow him, go like his pages, go send him tons of emails with songs and pre-orders and all sorts of stuff, and go do that, because believe me, you want to hop on this bandwagon now, because in a year or two, it's going to be big, huge. Get your tickets to the show now at theshownow.com, or I will come and find you. No, I'm just kidding. Just get your tickets to the shows. That way you can see Jeremy Porter there, and it'll be great. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We'll be back next week with I Forgot, because I don't have the schedule up, but I know that there's a bunch more live streams coming up on the talk, all the way through to the show, and we will see you all very soon. Jeremy, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Thanks everybody. See you later.
Thanks.